Gibbs is head coach. Darkfield Duck, who will also see skate later today with the SRDL Killer Bees. Blondie Lawless and Walker's Monster.
Avalanche City to stay up, but today in the race, Bill joined and watch the shell.
For the mindfox, but we have so many others coming up, and you'll see that later on. Starting off real fast here, Sonia. And that includes a trip to the penalty box for Snidlick. And Herb gets bumped out and Snidlick gets some help once again by Tim McDonald there. And we aren't able to show you those penalties. Let's take a quick look here. That would be the Avalanche City penalty board, and it was a cut there for meter maid. And we'll show the mindfox one later. a huge matchup for the Mindfox. And then, of course, Florida as well. They've stepped up their game the last couple of years. Very cute name, but back to the action in Blackjack Fever. And that was a star stash, I believe. Yeah, he decides to go with the star. Doesn't cover yet. And the track is moving, or the pack rather, is moving quite fast. Almost difficult to see some of that, the block that's going on here, but it is incredible. Everyone's just acting like little amoebas around each other and coming around. We're not seeing black patches.
Meter Maid first into the pack. She's at the top, challenging those Saskatoon blockers.
Stabitha returning from a... Oh, I'm just pausing here because we might have a... Yes, we do. The jam has been called for a possible injury. Stabitha falling backwards. We're going to take a moment here while it's cleared. She seems to be okay. She's talking. She's sitting. But she has taken her helmet off. So we do want to thank our medical staff who are joining us here today, and also for the rest of the weekend. You know, we only see them at these times, and then they're so important, but they're here the entire weekend, so we want to thank them as well for their time.
We literally are not allowed to have games without them. Like, they're essential to what we do.
Very important. And the cheer and the claps that you just heard is Tabitha coming off now. She has been assisted by one of the mindfox skaters who isn't skating this for the mindfox this tournament.
That's
Kimber.
Pterodactyl
Yeah,
assisting
Pterodactyl.
her.
We will keep an update on that to see how it goes. That was a difficult fall backwards, and we got the view right here from down the jammer line. Okay, but play is going to continue on. We have Curb Stomp and Coleshaw out for the mindfox.
Meter Maid with a star just behind her for Avalanche City. Meter Maid trying that inside line, busting through that tripod, but Saskatoon is quick to reform in front of her.
Although Avalanche City has been so effective keeping the mindfox jammers at the back, and they're falling for it. Paid off once again for Meter Maid.
Absolutely. She easily picks up that lead status coming around the top of that apex, as we've seen time and time again in this game.
And now the pack is speeding up. We're also seeing some of the blockers spreading out from one another, working really well for Avalanche City. They're using them as pylons once again, weaving through.
Yeah, taking advantage of that trajectory, coming around the corner. They get a little bit spread out, just enough for her to get through, get those points, and call it off.
Now, Sonia, you mentioned before about pacing yourself in a tournament. You're also skating. In terms of what these players should be thinking about, this is their first game. What should they be thinking about?
Mostly hydrate.
Yeah, you know what? That's perfect because it's true. Hydrate, you want to stay focused on the game, but remember that you have others as well.
And you really just have to leave every jam at the end of it. You can't bring it to the next one. You have to leave everything out on the track.
And if you're tidbit naughty, you're going 100% all the time. Manage
Miss
to-
Grizz picking
yeah.
up a cut track penalty. That'll be a power jam for Saskatoon.
And that was created by Tidbit Naughty. Meanwhile, Cutie Sly is now calling for some offensive help, trying to use the same strategy that Avalanche City was using, weaving through. Manages to stay in bounds, possibly? Yes, she does.
Avalanche City doing a beautiful job neutralizing that offense, not letting Saskatoon mess with their tripod.
Although now we're stopped in turn 3. What will the mindfox do here? And an apex jump makes it look so easy.
Just a little hop is all you need to get over that foot and get through.
And I love that we're still screaming for apex jumps because you know what? They're cool. No matter what, they're cool.
They're always cool. It's always cool when people jump.
But Miss Grizz is back and moving fast, weaving through. But she was still on her initial, therefore not collecting any points as jam. And there is a timeout called by the mindfox, and that allows us, you know what? It allows us to find our officials list here. We didn't mention them right off the top, but we are so grateful for them. Our ref crew is Wonder Bread, Breadwinners, Flatbread, Breadwinners. What? I don't understand that. Oh, I
only have
see.
3 ref
The ref
crews.
crew is named Wonder Bread. Oh boy, you can tell it's the first game.
3 ref crews
Yeah,
for the whole
3 ref
tournament.
crews.
This one is called Wonder Bread.
Wonder Bread, and Wonder Bread is made up of Graffy, Pete, Sparkles, Pam, Izzy, Whistles, and Scooby. With your crew head, that's the crew head NSO, and I'm going to let you talk about the NSOs, who for this game are the Weirdos. We just need to find it on our sheets. We do want to give some love to our non-skating officials, so when we find that, we will share their names loud and proud on the feed.
We don't know who the weirdos are right now. We don't have that list, but we will get it to you as soon as possible. But I can tell you that the crew head NSO is Agent of Wield.
Exactly. So we know that. Oh, here we go. I think we found them here. All right, so Sonia will get to that right after this jam. We have Curb Stomp and Coleshaw with the star for mindfox.
Meter Maid at the top of the pack, gets through those Saskatoon blockers, picks up that lead status once again for Avalanche.
We're seeing this matchup time and time again. Meter Maid now getting the best of Curb Stomp and Coleshaw in most of these matchups.
Meter Maid dodging those hips of the Saskatoon blockers around that outside, picking up 3 points for Avalanche City.
And that was a fast jam, and it does allow us to talk about our non-skating officials, who we love so much. So we have
Wonder Bread, we have Sugar Shane, Slim Shadow, Agent of Wheels, James T. Smirk, Twinkle Toes, Snow Mercy, Xena, Mr. Nitro, Honey Smacks, and Mama Corn.
And we are so grateful to them. We also have fantastic volunteers. Too many to count. How lucky are we? Or too many to say even. So we want to send a big thank you to them as well.
We've got Miss Grizz on the track for Avalanche, getting caught up at the back by those Saskatoon blockers.
Really getting caught up on the back of Mishbehaven and Tibbet Naughty. Meanwhile, Cutie Sly has also been dragged back. She's just ahead, though, on turn 1.
Miss Grizz getting knocked to that inside, bridge back behind the pivot line. She's taking advantage of her own blockers to mess up the Saskatoon tripod and get through, but they were quick to reform in front. But she gets through, dodges that last line of defense, and picks up lead.
And meanwhile, the blockers are trying to figure out a way. Avalanche City doing a really great job making sure that Tibbet Naughty can't get anywhere close to her buddies out there on the track. Big hit by Tibbet Naughty knocks Ms. Grizz out into the inside there on turn 3.
Miss Grizz almost got through with just enough separation of those Saskatoon blockers, but Tibbet Naughty knocked her down, and that's all she needed to get bridge back. And Miss Grizz getting through that pack, picking up 4 points.
It's a nice little assist there by her Avalanche blocker. And that was Jenna Jamerson who gave that little assist.
Miss Grizz getting another beautiful assist by Jenna Jamerson.
And there has been a star pass to Rocket of the Mindfox, but unfortunately getting caught in the pivot trap, as I call it, where if you get stuck at the back, you're no benefit. We have a forearm call on number 3 from Fernie.
And Miss Grizz tiptoeing that inside line, gets through, gets her points, and calls it off.
Yeah, that's Breakadon is now in the penalty box. You know, we haven't been seeing too much penalty trouble this game, so that's good for both sides, keeping the play fast. Avalanche City, though, getting that jam by jam lead, now sitting at 47, Mindfox at 22. About halfway through the first half. And just a quick update there on Stabitha from the Mindfox. She has taken her skates off. She will not be skating in this game. We will have an update later when the Mindfox play tomorrow as to how she's doing.
Meter Maid bulldozing through that pack, almost losing her balance at the top, but stays up on her feet, gets that lead.
Skidlet providing a bit of offense there for Curb Stomp and Coleshaw, whose edge work just allows her to skate by. Like, her figure skating background just always shows up on the track.
And Trip Vicious reporting to the penalty box for Avalanche for a out-of-play penalty.
And that could be a game changer for Avalanche City if they allow some sort of penalty box spiral to happen. In this case, not quite that yet, but this is 2 jams now where they're going to be starting a blocker down.
And it looks like we're going to have an official review by Saskatoon. We'll bring you those details shortly.
And our head ref will be announcing what that is in just a moment. We do want to say once again a big thank you to the co-hosts of Flat Track Fever 2019, a WFTDA recognized tournament. This is 8 years of Flat Track Fever, the first time it's WFTDA recognized, and that's thanks in part to the work by Calgary Roller Derby and Chinook City Roller Derby.
So Saskatoon is requesting a forearm call on the Avalanche City jammer. That would have been Miss Grizz.
Of course, an important time to get a power lead. Power jam, rather, I should say. And Squid Vicious has come back to tell us more. All right, so we have just learned that the forearm penalty will be assessed against the Avalanche jammer. And that means mindfox also retain their official review.
So this will be the first power start of the game, and Curb Stomp and Coleshaw will have that honor.
And that's why those coaches are looking at every inch of the track. They want to be able to make those challenges and reviews when it works. And wow, that's a big one for the mindfox. That Sealfeld capitalize, and Curb Stomp and Coleshaw gets lead with just seconds into this jam.
Avalanche City setting up at the back of the pack, awaiting Curb Stompin' to come in.
And she's able to slice through those arms really quickly. And it's getting loud in here.
And fresh off their penalties, Trip Vicious and Meter Maid back in the fray. Meter Maid cutting through that inside line, ducking those hips of number 113 of Saskatoon, gets through for her initial.
Oh, Sonia, I got so excited there. I love seeing that. When the blocker comes out with the jammer, jammer hid behind her blocker to get in and really use that open lane just beautifully.
It's always exciting. You see the opening, you see they see it. You're like, yeah, she's going for it. She did it.
And that was a gorgeous little dip on the outside of turn one there for Curb Stomp and Coleshaw. Looks like she's going to run this one out to collect the points.
Meter Maid getting some offense from break of dawn, but Saskatoon is quick to reform in front, but she takes advantage of the trajectory of the track once again, gets through, puts up 4.
Mercy butt kicks out on her own. Is not going to be able to stop Meter Maid right now, who just keeps flying around the track. Hardly any loss of momentum.
Making it look easy. She's spreading those blockers to the point of the pack's breaking point.
And that was Curb Stomp and Coleshaw calling the gem, feeling really good about that collecting. I'm not sure if it's 16 points or a little bit more. Yeah, it was 16. But coming up against Rogue, who got the bump out there for Avalanche City. So in the end, just a net gain of only 4 points. But wow, a big one for the mindfox.
Both teams with 1 blocker apiece in the box, so no pack advantage for this start. Miss Grizz with a star for Avalanche at the top of the pack. Both teams putting up some solid tripods.
So this is the first time we're seeing Rocket with the star to start. So I wonder, that may have been a decision made because of Stabitha leaving the game. We do have the Stig from the mindfox in the penalty box.
Miss Grizz ducking those hips around that last blocker just enough to get her through, get her that lead.
And we have Mercy butt kicks out on the track along with number 52. That's Stabby Stabby Sharp Shark of Avalanche City.
Miss Grizz getting some beautiful offense. She goes through untouched through that inside line, picks up 4.
I do just want to point out as well, Sonia, that the lead jammer really goes to the Avalanche so far. Out of 16 jams, we have 1, 2, 3 that they did not get assessed lead jammer. That is incredible. They are making such a run, and it's showing in the score right now.
They are making an impressive statement so far in this game that they are here to earn that lead status.
A big thanks to producer Mad Max for that information. We are rolling here. Curb Stomp and Coleshaw hoping to get one of those leads against Meter Maid, but it has proven tough.
Meter Maid cutting through that inside just enough to get through, get that lead.
And the star is off her head. We don't see any pass. Skidlet, her pivot, is at the back of the pack. Not exactly advantageous to make the pass at this point, although now Skidlet's up at the front. And she's off, right as I say that.
Avalanche City moving in to give some offense. She ducks the hips of the last line of defense. She ducks Curb Stomp and Coleshaw, who falls to the inside. She calls it off.
I am screaming silently over here, Sonia. That was, wow. There were about 3 different single foot turns and spins all on the line there, staying in bounds, calls it off. Incredible footwork there. All right, we just had a quick little interruption from Graphy. Thank you very much. Just reminding us that the mindfox have retained their official review.
Miss Grizz with the star for Avalanche City, trying to get through that inside, getting some offense from Jenna Jamerson at the top of the pack.
Meanwhile, Rocket is getting held up at the back, fighting through really difficult.
The Miss Grizz proves victorious once again for Avalanche City. Oh, a beautiful last-ditch effort by Jenna Jamerson knocks out the Saskatoon Jammer.
And there was a penalty assessed to Rocket. That will be a forearm call, and that's huge for Avalanche City, a time to just keep growing that lead.
We have a power jam for Avalanche. I believe this is their first power jam of the game. All the other ones have gone to Saskatoon.
You are right about that. It's just been such a fast-moving game.
Not that they've needed it. Miss Grizz has been very victorious at getting through, putting up a lot of points for her team, and she's fighting through once again. She's got one left to be at the top of the pack, ducks her hips around just enough to get through on that outside.
And that was the first time I really saw her slow down with the mindfox blockers there, because mindfox was solely focused on defense at that time. So I think right now perhaps there's a little bit of offensive-minded play that's happening that's actually not allowing the mindfox to effectively hold down those Avalanche Jammers.
Absolutely. That was their first power jam scenario, so they weren't sure what to do against that defense from Avalanche. Or that offense from Avalanche, sorry. So Meter Maid with the star for Avalanche City once again.
And right as I say that, it's almost like they heard the defense there provided by Mad-Eye Millie, misbehaving, and Skidlet was gorgeous. Of course, Meter Maid did make it out first, but held her up just a little bit longer.
And Avalanche City moving in to give some offense. She gets through unscathed, puts up those points and calls it before Saskatoon can do any damage.
And this is a rare sight to see when the Mindfox are playing, someone getting by Tippett Naughty without even getting a bump. But Meter Maid did that right at the end. They're able to stay on the line.
Absolutely. Tippett Naughty comes in with some solid hits.
And the entire Mindfox team has really put an emphasis on strength. In their off-season recently, the whole team was doing strongman workouts together. So team bonding, working together. We're seeing a new and improved Mindfox no matter what the score is. And this is going to be a phenomenal test for them to start the weekend with.
And this is Avalanche's first year with their new head coach, Stay Puft. So they're giving a really strong showing so far.
And Stay Puft knows this tournament very well. You at home might also recognize that name. He's been an announcer here with Flat Track Fever, I believe, since the beginning. So an incredible person with Derby IQ, unlike any other, and I think that's showing right now.
Absolutely. He's been watching Derby from this vantage point for how many years now, so he has that advantage to see plays, how they work, how they evolve on the track.
And right now the Mindfox are playing Avalanche City's game. Jenna Jameson to the penalty box. We will show you the penalties for Avalanche City because they have been getting more than the Mindfox this game so far. And we have a back block penalty assessed to Avalanche City, and Mamie Pond from SRDL has also gone off.
So with this pack thinning out, we've got Miss Grizz coming back into the fray. She manages to stay in bounds just enough to get through.
And we have hardly a pack out there. I think there's 4 skaters total
just
right
two
now.
and two. No, 2 and 1.
Oh,
my mistake.
Goodness.
This is the smallest pack I've ever seen, but here comes Jenna Jamerson for Avalanche
The
to
important thing is
make it even more uneven.
Yeah, Stig, being the sole blocker out there for the Mindfox, was trying to use the Avalanche blockers to block the jammer, but of course couldn't stop it. Wow, what a rush there at the end.
Just some interesting timing on the releases of those penalties on that one. All 4 of Avalanche were back on the track, but one of the Saskatoon blockers that was released just as the play was called off, so they only have 1 sitting in the box for the start of this jam.
Which, in a lot of ways, wow, are they lucky, because had it been called any sooner, and they would have had only 1. And that's an interesting choice as well, to not possibly call the jam when you only have the 1 person there. Get
Absolutely.
the power star.
And that would have been a huge disadvantage. I don't think you would want 2 blockers going up against Avalanche City, not with this momentum.
And we do have a timeout now. We just want to also mention that you can follow along with all the Flat Track Fever fun by following the hashtag FTF2019. That's FTF2019. we're very excited to see everyone's photos and memories from the event.
Meter Maid with the star, using those edges, gets through on the inside, gets that lead.
And looks like she's going to be ready to cross that century mark with this pass. Does just that. Wow.
Hits it and quits it, puts up those points for Avalanche City, putting them at 103 to mindfox's 46.
Still 5 minutes left in this half. It's going to be interesting to see how the mindfox handle this. The mindfox are a phenomenal second half team as well. So I could see them getting together in the locker room at half and figuring out some ways to guard against us. But we are really playing Avalanche City's game right now. And kudos to Fernie. They are controlling it. They're controlling the leads.
Absolutely. Avalanche City has always been great at controlling the pack, controlling the leads. And here's Miss Grizz at the back of the pack, taking advantage of those blockers, spread out just enough to get her through.
Cutie Sly doing a very quick start pass off to Rocket. Effective, although Rocket's still up against.
We've got Break It Done and Cracker Jacks for Avalanche, not letting her get through easily. Oh, she'll pick up a forearm penalty. Power jam for Miss Grizz, who gets knocked to the outside.
Yeah, Mamie Pond with that slide out. And even though Mamie Pond went out, the other blockers got up there first, so it did drag back Ms. Grizz.
And it's always best to play it safe, especially in a power jam scenario. You don't want to pick up that cut track and have the jammer swap. But she gets through, puts up 4.
The intensity of this game, every jammer is giving it their all, moving so fast on that track, seeing very little loss of momentum for the Avalanche City Jammers.
And Miss Grizz pushing those blockers out just enough to open up that lane number 1, her favorite lane, to pick up another set of 4 points and call it.
And when we were talking about Stay Puft and just his derby IQ and where he's at as well in his game and being able to come and coach Fernie like this, we also want to say that Saskatoon Mindfox, Mr. Bits, is very new to coaching but has a phenomenal strategic mind and really has looked at the game in a whole new way. I'm not going to share all his secrets, but it's exciting to see that when someone new comes into derby and has that new perspective.
So Avalanche City with the power start. They sent out Meter Maid. Avalanche City doing a beautiful pinch, but Saskatoon was quick to reform in front, but that didn't slow Meter Maid down. She got through.
Oh, and just a knockdown there by number 5-2. That is stabby, stabby, sharp shot. Big smile, even though she went down with Rocket. Rocket now approaching the pack.
Absolutely. Everybody's having fun, even though it's early in the morning.
I mean, there's a lot of benefits to playing first thing. I mean, you get to then enjoy the rest of your day and watch some phenomenal derby at Flat Track Fever.
That's right. What game is next on this track?
Oh, that's a really good point. We will have a look at that in just a second. Getting used to our lovely fancy binders we have here.
So we are going to have FMRD versus OCRD. FMRD being Fort McMurray Roller Derby and Oil City Roller Derby from Edmonton.
And they are part of the mixed gender bracket. There are different brackets for Flat Track Fever. We're watching right now WFTDA bracket. We have mixed gender and we have the Battle of Alberta, really. All of the Alberta teams that don't quite fit into either of those brackets.
Absolutely, the Alberta women's brackets. So that was Meter Maid getting through, getting points once again, putting Avalanche City to 119, holding Mindfox to 46 for the last few jams. And this may be the last jam of this game. We've got, of this half, we've got Miss Grizz with the star for Avalanche. Avalanche quick to take that space of the Saskatoon jammer. Miss Grizz getting held up by Tidbit Naughty. Oh, we've got a knee pad cover in the middle of the track. But that lead will go to Saskatoon, their first lead in a few jams now. But Miss Grizz not far behind, hoping to put on some pressure.
That's the Mindfox first lead jam in 9 jams. And that's why you're seeing Mr. Bit say, roll it, roll it, roll it. Let's get those points.
Miss Grizz taking a tough hit by Tidbit Naughty and getting bridge back.
Meanwhile, Cutie Sly getting bumped in there on turn 2 on the inside.
A solid tripod from Avalanche City is going to give Saskatoon a tough time.
And it's 7-0 there for the mindfox on that jam. And that will be the last of this half. Let's take a look at those penalties, Sonia. Gonna make sure we can actually see them here. We just want to take a look. Well, starting with with Avalanche City. Now we're getting used to this beautiful overlay that you also see on your screen right now. It looks like almost every skater, except the ones who are not skating, have been assessed a penalty at least. And it's interesting that even though they are skating seemingly one skater down, they're doing really well.
Absolutely doing a good job of keeping those penalties clean, staying together on that track.
And we'll take a look now at the mindfox penalties. Mercy butt kicks there with 3. And which
They've
I
got
believe is the most.
A few more without penalties on this one.
Oh, actually Rocket as well, 2 forearms there. So no one in real penalty trouble, but these all obviously cost the teams as they go. So we will be right back. We're going to join you with second half action from Game 1 of Flat Track Fever 2019, a WFTDA recognized tournament. I'm Deathnella.
And I'm Sonia Blade.
And don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You are watching Game 1, Day 1 of Flat Track Fever 2019 in beautiful Calgary, Alberta. I'm Deathnella.
And I am Sonia Blade. We've got Avalanche City taking on Saskatoon Mindfox.
And right now, Avalanche City with a large lead, 122 to Mindfox 53. And I think this was for me, it was a tad unexpected because the first 10 minutes of the game, it was so tight.
Absolutely. It was almost 1-for-1 in these jams, but Avalanche City was dominating, getting those leads, getting 10 in a row, I think.
And if you're just joining us, we do want to mention that Stabitha from the Mindfox, she did leave that game injured. We have no word yet on whether she will be skating in the other games this weekend. There's 1 per day. So, but we do know she's not skating in this game. And that, Sonia, I think that really hurt the Mindfox as well overall because it did mean a sort of midway through the first half, change of pace, changing your jammer matchups that you kind of come in mentally prepped with.
Absolutely. That was a huge loss for Saskatoon, and we'll see how they handle it in the second half. They haven't handled it great so far, but maybe that halftime will give them the time they need to adjust their play, adjust their strategy, and see how they come out against Avalanche.
And as we get started here, we just want to also mention Girls on Track Foundation. Roller Derby helps girls under 18 develop confidence, leadership, and organizational skills. Help girls keep playing this amazing sport by providing access to roller derby. Support Girls on Track Foundation today.
We'd also like to give a shout out to Rydell Skates. No one else can say they've been advancing roller skating for 70 years. Rydell Skates, you'll love how your Rydells feel. RydellSkates.com.
A big thank you to all of the sponsors and the in-house vendors here who support Flat Track Fever. It's the 8th year, we've mentioned 8th year of this 3-day tournament. First time it is WFTDA recognized.
Meter Maid quickly jumping to the top of that pack. She's got 1 left to beat at the top, but it looks like it's Tidbit Naughty, and it's not going to be easy for her.
And meanwhile, Mercy butt kicks released right away from the penalty box, still serving one from the end of the first half, providing some help for Curb, who is now out of the pack.
Meter Maid coming back into fray as the blockers jostle for position. Avalanche City, one of her blockers tumbling in front of her, but Meter Maid ducks out in front, gets knocked to the outside, calls it off. She puts up 3 points, it looks like, for Avalanche.
We're going to have to see how that halftime locker room chat helped the Mindfox. I said earlier in the first half they can be a tremendous second half team and really win in the points, and possibly win the game as well, right? I mean, we've still got a lot more derby to go, but it is going to be tough if they have a slow start now in the second half.
Absolutely. Avalanche will not make it an easy comeback for them as they send out Miss Grizz with the star, who quickly takes to that inside with some offense from Break of Dawn.
And this time it's Miss Grizz actually getting caught up in the back, something we don't often see, or we didn't really see in the first half at all.
There goes Saskatoon picking up a first lead of this half. Hoping
That's Cutie Sly out there with the star.
An Avalanche doing the star staff strategy, the first time they've had to resort to that during this game. Miss Grizz taking the star off, getting out for her initial.
Yep, but the Avalanche City blockers still making it far too difficult for Cutie Sly to complete her pass. And so now Miss Grizz has 4 on the board.
Yeah, that was Miss Grizz taking a whip off the brand new Pivot Star jerseys Avalanche is sporting, got her through around the outside and picked up points.
Both teams with those gorgeous uniforms. It really just goes to show the evolution of the sport in every single way, including the aesthetics. And now we see Mercy Buttkicks for the first time with a jammer star on. She is a phenomenal jammer. I don't know if she likes to jam, but it really has become something she excels at in a number of ways.
Whether she likes it or not, she's doing it, and she's up against Meter Maid, who's at the top of the pack against that Saskatoon tripod, but she ducks around that last kingpin, gets that lead.
Mercy now still fighting her way through there on turn 1, gets by right as Meter Maid approaches the pack.
Meter Maid getting knocked to the outside by Tidbit Naughty, but she manages to duck around her hips, tries that inside line, gets knocked out by Saskatoon. She hits the infield, calls it off, picking up 2 points.
Some great work that probably went unnoticed there just on turn 1, but Tidbit Naughty with such a quick little duck behind Meter Maid that she forced a no-earned pass. So there were only 2 points there for Avalanche City on that one. And protecting your points, that is what these blockers have to be thinking about right now. How can I keep those points away from that jammer, whether they're in lead or not?
Looks like Avalanche starting with a 2-2 setup, and they've got Miss Grizz with the star running up that inside line, easily getting that lead status.
Able to get by fast, but Curbstom and Coleshaw about a half track away.
Miss Grizz coming back into action, Break of Dawn giving her some beautiful offense. Miss Grizz getting those hips around just enough to get 3 points.
Now, Sonia, have you skated on this floor?
I have. It starts out grippy and gets slipperier throughout the weekend as it gets more use.
I was going to say, because for the first time there, I saw some bizarre little, like, oh my goodness moments on their skates where it did appear to be quite slippery.
It's an odd floor at the beginning, but it gets consistently slipperier.
Okay, well, that's a good thing to keep in mind, especially for you as you're going to be skating later today.
Absolutely. As the tournament goes on, you really have to hunker down to stop these powerful jammers. And one of those powerful jammers is Meter Maid getting knocked to the inside, but Saskatoon comes out victorious with that lead status.
Yeah, another lead jammer status for Cutie Sly this half. And that's a big one. She struggled in the first half to get those leads.
Meter Maid getting through, ducking that last-ditch effort by Tidbit Naughty.
Cutie Sly with a bit of time here, only now a half lap ahead.
Avalanche City 1 by 1 tumbling to that infield, and Meter Maid coming around that outside, ducking Tidbit Naughty through that inside, gets 4 points.
Meter Maid so easily able to use the inside lanes. Can't even give him an inch. It's so fast. And I wonder if perhaps the speed to me is still being dictated by Avalanche City. Perhaps I'm wrong, but I just don't see the speed being mindfox's playbook, but they have to play with that right now, and with the floor being a little slick, I don't know how that's working.
Absolutely. It still looks like they're playing Avalanche's game despite having that halftime break.
Avalanche City now more than double the mindfox score, 138 to mindfox 60.
Miss Grizz getting caught up at the back with those Saskatoon blockers. But they're getting spread out just enough. She's finding room that inside, cuts through the end, gets that lead.
And we have curb stomping Coleshaw hot on the heels here, approaching the pack right as Miss Grizz calls it off.
Miss Grizz taking a tough tumble. She's decided she's had enough. She's going to keep this jam scoreless.
And we do have some more spectators in the audience, including Echo City Knockouts from Hawaii, the team traveling the furthest to Flat Track Fever. But all teams, we have teams from all over, including as the teams we're seeing on the track right now, Fernie and Saskatoon, both having to travel a ways to get here.
Yep, Fort McMurray's a good 7-hour drive. Saskatoon is 6.
Yep. And Fort McMurray, of course, you go, well, it's in Alberta, but
Alberta's pretty tall.
North. Yep. And we have Mercy butt kicks with the star again, bowling over those blockers, getting by Meter Maid, who actually has the lead.
Meter Maid taking a tumble just as she got that lead status. And she's not going to let Saskatoon take advantage. She's going to call it off for another scoreless jam.
And that was the jamming I was alluding to earlier there, Sonia, by Mercy butt kicks, where she's just powerful and she was able to basically bowl over those blockers legally, targeting legal zones and get through so fast.
Mindfox doing a great job putting pressure on Avalanche, that time holding them to another scoreless jam. So we've got Miss Grizz with the star. She's jostling for position, trying up that inside.
And the pack is now into turn 2. We hear the whistle blow. Lead has been assessed once again to Ms. Grizz.
It always happens. There's this little cluster on the other side of turn 2, and then magically a jammer pops out. We're not really sure how it happens, but it happens. And there is Saskatoon's jammer reporting to the penalty box, so that'll be a power jam for Miss Grizz. Saskatoon giving her a tough time. She's got 2 left to beat as she comes back towards the jammer line. Pack getting very spread out. Saskatoon doing a great job of bridging.
I was just going to say it's one of the first times, though, that we've even seen the pack split that way. But yes, phenomenal job bridging out there.
Absolutely. It hasn't usually taken that long for a jammer to get out. Saskatoon's doing a good job of killing this penalty.
And as I mentioned before, because we saw this in the first half when Saskatoon had their first chance to penalty kill, they're very effective when their sole focus is just defense. They know how to get together and to slow it down. An interesting choice, as always, by Fernie to say, okay, we're going to sit back here and not provide offensive help.
Absolutely. It looks like a scenario that both of these teams have put into practice.
We have an official timeout right now. They're just discussing something on the track. And we want to give some love once again to our officials and our non-skating officials and all the volunteers, including the wonderful people putting on the stream you are watching. Dev Nell is the leader of that team. I don't actually have the names of the camera operators on hand, but they are fantastic, and we want to give a big thank you to them.
I can tell you right now, Jigsaw is on the camera giving you that live action.
Oh yeah, there we go. And that's phenomenal. This is what Derby is all about. It's people volunteering, people who are passionate and care, and what a great stream to catch all this action.
And back at the action, Meter Maid at the top of the pack, easily getting by those Saskatoon blockers, spreading them out, getting through, picking up lead.
And we're seeing a lot of really calm benches as well. Stay Puffed in full control from his bench there.
Saskatoon holding back Meter Maid just enough that she only picked up 1 point. She called it off before Saskatoon could come back into play.
And Mercy butt kicks once again lining up for Saskatoon. This is a smart decision. They know that they have several more games this weekend, and to be able to make the decision to put Mercy butt kicks in there for the second half to help alleviate the stress on the other jammers is a really smart call.
Absolutely. This is what you train for in practice. I know a lot of people don't like to jam, and just like that, she busts right up the middle, gets through, gets lead. But number 12, Ms. Grizz, is not far behind her.
And Ms. Grizz has the benefit of knowing how to speed around this floor, although both jammers seem a little tentative on those turns.
Yeah, it looks like both jammers did a little speed check before they came into play there. Avalanche City at the top.
And
Losing.
a bunch of spills going on there. I think Ms. Gris was trying to call for a penalty.
And that stabby, sharp, I believe, picking up a penalty.
Yeah, quite a few spills there. That penalty being a low block assessed to stabby, sharp.
And that was as she hit Mercy butt kicks to the infield. Mercy butt kicks still in the fray as Miss Grizz comes back in to score more points.
Right now, Ms. Grizz with points on the board, even though Mercy butt kicks has lead.
Miss Grizz at the top of the pack. She's got 1 left to beat.
And now she's got 2 left to beat. Hayner and Mamie Pond bringing the heat, but unable to knock Ms. Grizz out.
No, Mamie Pond giving her that momentum to get through the pack. Sometimes on that turn, you push them, you end up pushing them forward and getting them through.
We've seen that a couple times for sure, Sonia, this game, where those jammers are just so sure of themselves, know what they're doing, able to accelerate off of those bumps.
Absolutely. They know how to read that track. They know how to get through.
And that jam was a win, actually, for Avalanche City, 8-4. But what an effort by both teams. One thing that's interesting, Sonia, is that we saw Ms. Grizz, she got knocked down, and then she started calling for a penalty. And that actually chewed up about 5-6 seconds of the jam. And I always try to mention that. It's not indicative of her as a jammer, but as skaters, I think sometimes we fall into that trap of wanting a penalty more than just wanting to get on with the jam.
Absolutely. They get too focused on trying to communicate with those refs, and that's not part of the game. That's not what you're here for. Oh, and Miss Meter Maid is picking up a penalty. This will be a power jam for Saskatoon.
And it's Cutie Sly getting the advantage there and also getting a lead because she hadn't finished her initial yet. And that's a huge win for Saskatoon.
It's Avalanche City setting up at the front. Saskatoon hoping to break them apart, but Avalanche is quick to reform.
And Mad-Eye Millie giving a little bump. And now we're trading places in the penalty box. This will be a full 2-minute jam. It's interesting. Clearly one of the inside pack refs noticed something that the outside didn't, because there was a no earned pass signal being shown, but Cutie Sly is in the box, and she's standing already.
Meter Maid coming back into action, getting a bit of help from Break of Dawn, but she jukes to the outside, gets through unscathed.
Yeah, both jammers getting into place behind the pack at the same time. Cutie Sly on the board now with 4 points, and this is just going to run. We've got 35 seconds left to see how many points they can clock.
Meter Maid taking a hit to the inside, doing a little twirl as she falls to the ground and gets knocked back. Just getting pinballed by these Saskatoon blockers at the back of the pack. We've got Jenna Jamerson at the front with stabby, sharp.
And
that's Cracker Jacks.
That was just a clinic on 2-person blocking right there. Meanwhile, Mad-Eye Millie gets assessed a penalty for the mindfox, so they're down a blocker.
A beautiful offensive sweep by Avalanche, but Saskatoon managed to get out in front, give her enough of a challenge.
Although now Saskatoon will start this next jam with only 2 blockers out there. No, 3. That was an incredible rush there at the end. And both teams are getting quite loud, and they're right by the announcer booth here. So if we get a little louder, that's why.
Both teams are really amped up. They've definitely had their caffeine this morning.
Nothing like a shot of Derby to get the adrenaline pumping. And there will be a quick official timeout. And that allows us to once again mention the Girls on Track Foundation. Did you know by age 14, girls are dropping out of sports at twice the rate of boys? Girls on Track wants to change the stat. Learn more about expanding access to roller derby for girls in their teens at girlsontrackfoundation.org.
Rydell Skates has skates you'll love, from entry-level to elite. Their skates offer the latest design and materials for a perfect fit and peak performance. That's rydellskates.com.
And we are at the Acadia Recreation Complex in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Mentioned that all. Cutie Sly, a big thanks to our producer, Mad Max, has noted Cutie Sly has a total of 39 points this half?
No, this game.
this game. That's great, but that's phenomenal for the mindfox. 39 of 75 points. Incredible.
Miss Grizz at the top of the pack, taking advantage of those blockers getting spread out. But it's Saskatoon who emerges victorious with that lead status.
Although both jammers are neck and neck, both with big smiles. Curb and Ms. Grizz loving the chase right now. But
Avalanche setting up at the back. Oh, curb stomping, getting around, but she lost the star cover.
Yeah, it was it fell off, so she's coming back again. Unfortunately, that does tie things up. She still has lead, though, because it was a natural fall off of the jammer at star cover.
Miss Grizz coming into a solid tripod, but using her edges, cutting to that inside, hoping to spread them apart once again. It has proven time and time again victorious for her.
And this slower-paced stop derby here that we're seeing is more the mindfox game. So now we're seeing the switch a bit this second half.
Miss Grizz running through that inside, ducking the hips of Saskatoon, getting through for those 4 points.
The crowd loving it here at Flat Track Fever. And just a bit of a pile up there around turn 2.
Avalanche setting up a beautiful pinch scenario there, getting their jammer through for 4 points.
And
a tough hit from Break of Dawn. That knocks Coleshaw into the infield, and the jam will be called.
Honestly, Break of Dawn, every hit is tough. Coming up against her is, it's coming up against Break of Dawn. I can't really say much more than that.
You don't want to do it.
No. I mean, these teams have played each other, and as we mentioned earlier in the game, though, both of these teams have really elevated their style and elevated their strategy, and this has been a phenomenal matchup regardless of what the score is, because we're seeing both teams at times taking full control of the game.
Absolutely. We've got Meter Maid at the top of the pack once again for Avalanche City.
And Mercy butt kicks now working up against the last of the Avalanche. And there is a forearm penalty assessed instead of lead jammer status.
And Break of Dawn knew that forearm would be called. She was sure of it.
And that means Meter Maid collects lead, while Mercy gets a bit of a break in the penalty box there.
Avalanche moving in for an offensive sweep on the in, but Meter Maid takes the out, and it works out in her favor. She gets through for 4.
And the blockers now around turn 3. And Tidbit Naughty with a nice little scoot out there on the inside.
Yeah, Avalanche tried to hold Tidbit Naughty back. That proved to be a mistake. Tidbit Naughty knocks her to the infield and bridges her all the way back.
Oh boy, we are going round and around. And perhaps leaving Tidbit at the back is not a good plan, because then your jammer's not going to join you up at the front.
Definitely not. That is not the first line of defense that you want to meet up with as an opposing jammer.
The Meter Maid out. Mercy Buckets getting caught up on her own skates there after getting the bump out by number 1-3 of the Avalanche.
Meter Maid with 2 left to be at the top of the pack. Getting knocked to the infield and bridged all the way back once again by Tidbit Naughty. Pat getting very spread out here. Mercy Buckets with a little twirl will get her through. And a little side step gets Meter Maid through for 4 points.
Oh, the casual ease with which they are able to stay in bounds the entire time. And number 1-3 with Avalanche City, that's Jenna Jamerson, has just been incredible. So subtle out there, maybe not so subtle when you're playing, but subtle to the viewer, because all those hits, all those well-executed, beautiful ways of locking in there with her side body, making it so difficult even in a one-on-one situation. And we have a team timeout. The score is 187-83. That's for Avalanche City.
Of course, Avalanche City in the blue, mindfox in the red.
I think we have just a quick moment here to take a look at those penalties once again, see how they're shaping up this round. Seeing a few more. No one in bad trouble for the Avalanche. And then just a quick peek at the mindfox penalties here. Oh, we are seeing Mercy butt kicks now with 4. So something to be mindful of approaching that.
We've got a brand new jammer for Avalanche City. That's Stabby Sharp. She finds room on the outside, picks up that lead.
I've always enjoyed when Stabby Sharp is up against Stabitha, but that matchup won't be happening this game. So great to see her out there with the star. She's been so effective as a blocker.
Absolutely. Now it'll be her turn as a jammer. She's putting 4 on the board as Saskatoon executes another star pass.
And that goes to Rocket. Rocket having taken the star about 3 or 4 times at least this game. And it does allow Curbstomp and Colshaw to get out of the box in time. I believe she was in the box, or perhaps she just had to get back there at the end of the jam. Things moving so fast. We still have more than 10 minutes left in this half, and there's so much time to see how these teams respond to each other's strategies.
Point differential getting a little more spread out. Avalanche dominating those lead jams. And once again, Meter Maid getting through that inside.
Now Curbstomp and Colshaw, usually the leader for the mindfox, unable to. This matchup has just been so tight.
It's Avalanche City moving in, giving some offense. Jenna Jamerson with a hit to Colshaw to the outside.
And we have a cut track penalty assessed to Tidbit Naughty. Could hear that one real loud. And an Avalanche blocker as well. Did not see the call on that one.
And Meter Maid looking for instructions from her bench, taking her time, calling it just as Colshaw comes back into play.
Yeah, number 2-1 Trip Vicious is in the penalty box for the Avalanche. So both teams starting a blocker down for this one. And now we get going. Cutie Sly on the line up against.
That's Miss Grizz for Avalanche City. Bit of a slow start here as both jammers bide their time planning out their moves.
But it looks like Miss Grizz, almost getting a wide open lane there.
This is a really slow start for Avalanche. Usually Miss Grizz is running up that line, but they have taken her momentum away, but she manages to take advantage of the blockers getting spread out, gets through.
Cutie Sly, who by far has been the points leader for the mindfox this game, able to get by with the star stash.
Miss Grizz at the top, but getting caught up by Tidbit Naughty for just a half second before she puts up 4 points.
But the control for Tidbit to know out of play and immediately switch back into helping offensively there. And Cutie Sly needing a little bit of a hand there at the end. She took a bit of a spill to finish that jam.
These Avalanche blockers have not made it easy on the Saskatoon Jammers. It's been a tough game.
And up again, we have number 83, Meter Maid for the Avalanche, who has already scored 33 points this half alone. Just a powerhouse out there for Fernie. Meanwhile, Curbstomp and Colshaw has had some phenomenal moments. Also a powerhouse for Saskatoon. I do think that this jammer matchup is still a good one to stick out.
Oh, absolutely. If anyone can give Meter Maid a run for her money, it's Curbstomp and Colshaw.
And as we say that, Curb is hot on her heels, getting by, but with Saskatoon set up at the back of the pack, she's unable to pick up any points, but neither is Avalanche City.
Miss Grizz donning the star once again for Avalanche.
So yeah, they've been running a 2-jammer rotation pretty tightly, and I don't really see any signs of fatigue, which we expect that at the WFTDA level, to have jammers who are well conditioned and are old hat with the 2-jammer rotation.
Absolutely. A 2-jammer rotation is interesting for a weekend tournament. We'll see how that plays out for them over the course of the weekend. And Miss Grizz running up that inside, picking up lead for Avalanche City.
Meanwhile, Saskatoon now has done the star pass to Melkery, who's fighting up against, wouldn't you know it, Break of Dawn and Stabby Stabby Sharp Sharp. Oh, there was no star pass, rather. That is just Melkery on the line. Incredible. I was just so used to seeing Melkery as the pivot.
I know, Malkery's first time with a star. And Miss Grizz will call it off before Malkery can show us what she's made of.
A great call. Melkery is a very strong jammer, but a difficult call as well, because Melkery is, bar none, one of the toughest defenders out there for the mindfox. So when you do a switch like that, you have to be careful of that too.
Absolutely. That jam putting Avalanche City over the 200 mark. They're sitting at 201 to mindfox's 89 with just under 6 minutes left.
And mindfox trying to set up the open lane on the inside for Curb, and it worked. Curb Simon Colshaw out with lead. Meanwhile, Meter Maid is getting held up still on turn 2.
An odd scenario for Meter Maid. She's not used to getting caught up at the back, but that's Tidbit Naughty giving her a run for her money.
Curb able to put a stop to the 6 lead streak that Avalanche City was on.
Meter Maid knocked to the infield, but she will get a high block penalty. Power jam for Saskatoon.
Whoa, and that was something. Whoa, we'll talk about that in just a second, but it was such a great move that one of the Avalanche City blockers applauded it on the track.
If we had instant replay, I would want an instant replay on that one.
It was an incredible spin move by Curb to get through, a little head duck.
But just her head was stuck. She had to do this awkward tilt to get under their arms.
I think when the other team gives you a little applause, that says it all. Although a big spill, as we say that, on turn 2. And that'll end things there for that jam. It does freeze Avalanche City's jammer in the box, I believe.
That move Colshaw did was like, it's one of those things you don't know you can do until you do it.
Yes. Something that I probably wouldn't venture out now. We're taking a quick little break, but now Curb did call off that jam, so despite needing a little bit of assistance there, she got a bit of a hit at the end. It was not called off for injury, so it's 5 seconds already being called by the jam timer. And that was very generous of the officials, because the jam timer called 5 seconds. Fernie was not at all prepared. They weren't going to field anybody at this point.
But that was a great jam by Curb Stompkin Colshaw. She put up 15 points for the mindfox, putting them past that century mark to 104.
And that is phenomenal.
A tremendous effort. You can see why she's
that
exhausted.
might be the highest scoring jam. Definitely this half for the mindfox, possibly for the game. We'll check in with Mad Max on that.
So Miss Grizz getting stuck at the back of the pack against that Saskatoon tripod. They're getting nice and low. They're not giving her an inch. Trying to take Miss Grizz all the way to the out, but she jukes around, and a fake star pass to her pivot, but that fakes the blockers out just enough to get her through.
And it also allowed number 02 Rex to get free of the penalty box. And now the team's fighting there on turn 3. Mindfox able to group in real quickly.
Miss Grizz staying in bounds just enough, just putting that one hand down.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal move. Getting the bump there by Mamie Pond, didn't get knocked fully out.
An incredible display of flexibility.
Hayner as well for the Mindfox, getting in front, making it really difficult. But definitely not impossible for Ms. Grizz, who's being told, keep going, of course, because the Mindfox have lead. And Mercy Buttkicks gets the call to call it off.
But she doesn't do it quite in time. Miss Grizz manages to put one more point up on the board.
Now, I have a bit more familiarity with the Mindfox roster, so I did also want to mention that Skidlet, the pivot on this jam, started out as a junior, so shout out to any junior skaters out there who are continuing on and who are joining the fine folks here at Flat Track Fever skating with the seniors. It's really great to have that knowledge and that Derby IQ.
Oh, don't call us seniors.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't sound right.
That sounds way too old.
Just some sort of evolved junior. Let's go with that. Meanwhile, back on the track
We've got Meter Maid for Avalanche City getting through, getting those points and calling it.
We're now down to the last 2 minutes of this game, and wow, this second half to me has just flown by. We've seen so many great moments from both teams where you think it's going one way and it goes another.
Absolutely. Both teams are not giving up.
Meanwhile, out here in the stands, we see some of our next teams lining up. That's right, there's a full day of Derby ahead, and we cannot wait.
Yes, every odd hour is a new game. So 9, 11, 1, 3, 5, and 7.
And we have Stabby, Stabby, Sharp, Sharp up against Melcree for Saskatoon.
Stabby Sharp Sharp just getting pinballed as she steps to the inside. She's going to take a minute before she comes back in.
Another penalty called there for Avalanche City. They have a blocker in the pack. This is really great chance for Melcree to get some more points up there for the mindfox.
Stabby Stabby Sharp Sharp getting some offense from Break of Dawn to get her through for her initial pass.
Melcree unsure if she cleared it properly, so she returns to the back of the pack, calls it off, but Avalanche City squeaks in those 4 points.
Yep, Stabby found room on that inside. Nobody was guarding it, so she took advantage and put up a full contingent of points.
Not sure what happened there. It appears that there was no... Oh, no, never mind. Mindfox Jammer ref still waiting to assess those points. No, looks like it's 4-0 for Fernie on that last jam.
Meter Maid quick to engage that Saskatoon tripod at the front.
And now we're seeing Cutie Sly up against Meter Maid. We haven't really seen that this game. She's always been curbs, girl, but look at that. Cutie Sly able to slip in on the inside.
Meter Maid not far behind her, hoping to put on some pressure as the blockers jostle for position.
But Meter Maid is a fast skater. Cutie Sly trying to be faster. Did she get any points for that effort?
I think they're still assessing. She got 3.
That is a win for that jam right there.
And that'll bring us to the end of the game.
We're sitting on an unofficial score right now. We'll hear from our officials in just a moment.
So Avalanche City sitting at 214 points to the Mindfox's 115. What a great start to this 3-day tournament.
And right now the Mindfox are cheering Avalanche City with big smiles on their faces. This is what it's all about. You're here to put on a great performance on the track, but you're also here to have fun. You've got 3 days of Derby ahead of you. So stay tuned, because up next we have the Crude Assassins from
Fort McMurray.
And they are up against Oil City.
It's the co-ed division up next.
And we are so excited to have you join us on the stream. We are live from the Acadia Rec Complex in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. We are so glad to be here. 3 days. Make sure you stay up to date with all the Flat Track Fever action on social media with the hashtag FTF2019. I'm Deathnella.
And I have been Sonia Blade.
And we will see you soon.